There were years, honestly, years where I wasn't sure we'd make it to our next anniversary. I'm Wilma, and this is my husband, David. We've been married for 60 years. And if you're looking at us now, sitting here together, you probably think it's been smooth sailing. You see 6 decades and assume we figured it out early. We didn't. We made mistakes that cost us time, closeness, things we can never get back. And one night in 2006, I stood in our bedroom, suitcase half packed, wondering if I should leave. 40 years of marriage, and I was ready to walk away. What stopped me wasn't love. It was our middle son, Christian, sobbing at the kitchen table downstairs, his own marriage in ruins, asking us, "How do you make it work?" We didn't have an answer that night, but we found one, and that's why we're here.
I'm David, 87 years old, and my wife Wilma, she is 85. What we're about to share with you, we wish someone had told us on our wedding day back in 1966. These aren't small things. These are the mistakes that nearly broke us. And if you're in a relationship or thinking about one, you need to hear this. Not because we're wise, because we survived. Welcome to One Human, One Story. For the first 17 years of our marriage, I kept a mental list. Every single thing I did went on that list. I took out the trash. I mowed the lawn every Saturday. I fixed the leaky faucet, painted the fence, changed the oil in both cars. And every time Wilma asked me to help with something else, fold the laundry, watch the kids while she ran errands, I'd think, what about everything I already do? I never said it out loud, not directly, but she felt it. The resentment was there, sitting between us like a wall we kept building higher. And I kept my own list. Oh, I kept a very detailed list. I cooked every single meal, breakfast, lunch, dinner for a family of 6. I raised our 4 children. I managed their schedules, their doctor appointments, their school projects. I stayed up with them when they were sick. I cleaned the house. I organized everything. I remembered every birthday and anniversary for both our families, not just ours, David's parents, his siblings, my parents, my siblings, everyone. When David would come home from work and collapse on the couch complaining about being tired, I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I just added it to my list. My list of all the ways I was doing more, caring more, trying more. And that list poisoned us, because here's what we learned too late. Marriage isn't a transaction. It's not about making sure everything's 50-50 down to the last dish washed or diaper changed. Some seasons, one person carries more. When I had that heart surgery back in emergency bypass, 3 blocked arteries, I couldn't work for nearly 6 months. Wilma carried everything. She worked double shifts as a shift supervisor at the factory, came home exhausted, took care of me, took care of the kids who were still at home. She did it all. I couldn't keep score then. There was no score to keep. She just did what needed to be done. And years later, when Wilma went through her own health struggles, complications from diabetes that nearly took her foot, I did the same. I retired early to take care of her. I learned to cook properly, not just grill burgers. I learned to clean the way she liked things cleaned. I didn't count hours or tasks. I just loved her. But we wasted so many years before that. Years of measuring, comparing, building resentment over who sacrificed more. The shift came when our oldest son, he was maybe 56 at the time, having his own marriage troubles, said something to Wilma that changed everything. He said, "Mom, do you and Dad even like each other?" That hit me so hard because we loved each other. I truly believed we always did. But had we become so focused on fairness that we'd forgotten to be a team? Had we spent so much time keeping score that we'd stopped being partners? I stopped counting after that. Not overnight, old habits die hard, but gradually. And David did too. Now when I do something, I don't think, well, I did this, so he owes me that. I just think this needs doing and I can do it. And sometimes David does things I used to do. Sometimes I do things he used to do, and we don't keep track anymore. We're just us doing life together. Wilma is a planner. Always has been. She makes lists for everything. She schedules things weeks, sometimes months in advance. She needs to know what's happening, when it's happening, and what the backup plan is if something goes wrong. I'm not like that. Never have been. I've always been more spontaneous, more let's see what happens. I like surprises. I like leaving room for the unexpected. And for years, decades, really, we fought about this. She'd get frustrated that I wouldn't commit to plans. I'd get frustrated that she couldn't just relax and be in the moment. We'd have these circular arguments that went nowhere. I thought if I just explained it the right way, or if I got upset enough, David would understand why planning mattered and he'd change. I'd say things like, "Why can't you just be more organized? Why can't you think ahead?" And he'd say things like, "Why can't you just loosen up? Why does everything have to be planned?" We were trying to turn each other into different people, and it doesn't work. It never works. It just makes both people feel inadequate and misunderstood. What finally changed was accepting that Wilma's planning isn't a flaw. It's how she moves through the world. It gives her security, helps her feel in control when life feels chaotic. And my spontaneity isn't irresponsibility. It's how I find joy, how I stay present. We had to stop seeing our differences as problems to fix and start seeing them as things to work with. Now Wilma plans our big things, our trips to visit the grandkids, our finances, our medical appointments. She keeps our calendar, and I surprise her with small spontaneous things, little day trips to places we've never been, unexpected flowers on a Tuesday, a sunset drive to nowhere in particular, moments she didn't plan for, but that make her smile. We complement each other now, instead of fighting each other. Her planning gives us structure. My spontaneity gives us joy. Together we're balanced. I am so guilty of this one. So guilty. I would let things build up. Small annoyances, small hurts. And I wouldn't say anything because I didn't want to start a fight. I'd think, it's not worth it. Just let it go. But you can't let everything go. It doesn't actually go anywhere. It just piles up inside you until something tiny sets you off, and suddenly you're screaming about something that happened 6 months ago. I remember one time, must have been around 2003, Wilma completely lost it because I forgot to pick up milk. Just milk. And suddenly she's yelling about how I never listen, how I always forget things, how she can't count on me for anything. And I'm standing there thinking, this is about milk. But it wasn't about milk. It was about 6 months of feeling unheard, 6 months of asking David to do small things and having him forget, 6 months of feeling like I didn't matter enough for him to remember. And the milk was just the final straw. If I had told David earlier calmly, not in the middle of an explosion, "Hey, when you forget things I ask you to do, it makes me feel like you don't value my time or my needs," we could have talked about it. He could have explained that he wasn't trying to dismiss me, that his mind just works differently, that he needs reminders. Instead, I stayed quiet until I couldn't anymore. And then it came out as an attack. And that doesn't solve anything. It just creates more hurt. We learned to speak up earlier, not aggressively, but honestly. "This bothered me. Can we talk about it?" It feels awkward at first, vulnerability always does, but it's so much better than the alternative. The difficult conversations don't have to be fights. They can be just conversations. "I felt hurt when this happened. I need this from you. Can we find a way to make this work better?" Now we check in with each other regularly. "Are we okay? Is there anything bothering you?" And we've created a rule. If something is bothering you, you have 48 hours to bring it up. After that, you let it go. No storing up ammunition for future fights. After about 28 years, we fell into this routine. We knew each other so well. We'd been through so much raising 4 kids, financial struggles, health scares, and we just assumed the relationship would sustain itself. We stopped dating each other. We stopped really talking beyond logistics. Who's picking up groceries? What time is the dentist appointment? Did you pay the electric bill? We became roommates who occasionally slept together. And the scary thing is, it happened so gradually we didn't even notice. There was no single moment where we decided to stop trying. It just slowly faded. The romance, the curiosity about each other, the effort. We got comfortable, and comfortable became complacent. What woke us up was watching our closest friends get divorced after 41 years of marriage. 41 years. Everyone was shocked because they seemed fine. But she told me later they'd been fine. Just fine. Not happy, not connected, just existing next to each other. And one day she realized she didn't want to spend her remaining years just existing. That terrified me, because I looked at David and thought, are we just existing too? So we made changes. We started having dinner together at the table, not in front of the TV. We started asking each other real questions again. What are you thinking about? What's something that made you happy this week? If you could do anything tomorrow, what would it be? We started going for walks together in the evenings, just 20 minutes around the neighborhood. But it was time that was ours, where we focused on each other, not on tasks or problems. And we brought back date nights. Not fancy, we're in our 80s now. We're not going clubbing, but intentional time. Sometimes it's just driving to get ice cream and sitting in the car talking. Sometimes it's playing cards at the kitchen table. Sometimes it's watching old movies we saw when we first started dating. Your marriage needs attention. It needs care. It won't thrive if you ignore it. You can't just set it and forget it. It's not a crock pot. It's a living thing that needs feeding. This one's big. When we'd argue, especially in those middle years, it felt like we were opponents, like we were each trying to win, to prove we were right and the other person was wrong. Every disagreement became a battle, and battles have winners and losers. But marriage doesn't work like that. If one person wins and one person loses, you both lose. Because you're supposed to be partners moving through life together, not competitors trying to defeat each other. I think the turning point was when our middle son Christian was going through his crisis. He'd lost his job in the 2008 recession. His marriage was falling apart, and he moved back in with us at 40 years old, broken and defeated. Wilma and I had different ideas about how to support him. She wanted to give him tough love, push him to get back on his feet quickly. I wanted to give him time and space to heal, and we couldn't fight about it. This was our son. This was bigger than our egos, so we talked. Really talked. We listened to each other's concerns. We realized we both wanted the same thing, to help Christian recover. We just had different ideas about how, so we compromised. We gave him structure but also grace. We held him accountable but also held him close. And helping Christian reminded us that we're a team. We're not David versus Wilma. We're David and Wilma together, facing whatever comes. Every problem, every decision, every challenge, we're supposed to tackle it together. When you remember you're on the same team, arguments change. You stop trying to hurt each other with words. You start saying things like, help me understand your perspective, instead of you're wrong. You start looking for solutions instead of looking for ways to prove your point. We still disagree. Even now, after 60 years, we have different opinions about things, but we disagree as teammates who want the same outcome, not as enemies trying to destroy each other. We're not perfect. Even now, after 6 decades, we still make mistakes. We still get frustrated with each other. David still forgets things. I still overplan. We still have moments where we fall back into old patterns. But we know what we're doing now. We catch ourselves. We correct course. We choose each other every single day. If I could go back and tell my younger self anything, it would be these 5 things. Stop keeping score. Accept who she is. Don't try to change her. Say the hard things before they become explosive. Never stop dating your wife, and remember always that you're on the same team. 60 years is a long time. We've buried friends and family. We've raised 4 children. We've survived losses and celebrated victories. We've changed so much from who we were in 19, but we've changed together, and that's made all the difference. This channel is full of people like us, sharing what we've learned from decades of living. If this meant something to you, subscribe and turn on notifications. Drop a comment and tell us which mistake resonated most. Hit that like button. And actually, we're planning to do a question and answer video soon. If there's anything you want to ask us, anything at all about marriage, life, mistakes we've made, leave it in the comments. We'd love to answer your questions. We're not going to be here forever, but while we are, we want to pass on what we know. Maybe it'll save you some of the pain we went through. Maybe it'll help your relationship be stronger. Either way, we're glad you listened. I'm David. And I'm Wilma. And this is One Human, One Story.